got another decent haul this week. Let me lift and hope not to drop. Well, that's about as good as I'm going to get. But I see there's about a half a dozen or so packages here. A couple of them with multiple items, as usually happens. So without further ado, let's dig in and see what we've got, shall we? All right, so this first one feels like a hardback, and it says it is coming to me from HarperCollins. Fine folks at HarperCollins. Okay, well this looks kind of neato and provocative. The title is The God Wave from Harper Voyager. The author is Patrick Hemstreet, new name to me. Says this book comes out May the 17th. And I take it that it is probably not about deities who like to surf. Because that's a joke, because it's wave, you see. Okay, what's it say? It says, Harper Voyager's thrilled to present our Spotlight title for summer 2016, an astounding debut that will put a new and uniquely powerful voice on the map. As Justin Cronin's epic sci-fi series comes to an end, that would be the passage in all of those, Patrick Hemstreet arrives just in time with the first book in an exciting cutting-edge trilogy. Okay. The God Wave evokes the speculative imagination of Neil Stephenson and the classic thriller edge of Michael Crichton, wrapped up in the meticulously researched hard science reminiscent of The Martian. So as we see again, this is the usual publicist thing of, you know, pitching the book in terms of comparison to other books. Okay, well, think of the accepted axiom that we only use 10% of our brains. Wrong! God damn, oh man, sorry, that is not an accepted axiom. It is a myth, it's a wives' tale. Stop that. Stop. I'm sorry, that's how to lose me, right? No, I'll be open-minded. Anyway, this means that we are only exercising our brains at couch potato levels. I'm sorry, Okay. But what if there are latent, seemingly superhuman abilities in each of us that simply require the right practice and conditioning to emerge? Okay, this is Lucy, I guess. In his debut, Hemstreet ushers readers into the not-so-distant future where a team of neuroscientists have uncovered amazing new capabilities in the human brain. With the help of extraordinary hybrid technology that amplifies and interprets brain waves, neuroscientist Chuck Brenton has made an astonishing breakthrough. He has discovered the key, the crucial combination of practice and conditioning to access the incredible power dormant in 90% of our brains. Applying his method to test subjects, he has stimulated abilities that elevate. I'm sorry, because my brain has blue screened from that kind of insult to my intellect there. And I know that this is supposed to be a showcase, and I mean to keep my opinions to a minimum in the mailbag. But yeah, you're not getting off on a good foot if you're going to do an SF novel that is that anti-scientific from the outset. But maybe I'm being unfair to Patrick in his debut. But The God Wave, it says, comes out on the 17th. Let me know if you'd like me to review this one. I mean, really, to anybody who believes that old saw about 10%, imagine if you went into the hospital and had 90% of your brain cut out. You would not emerge from that surgery a normal person, I promise you. Okay, who's this from? Something else from HarperCollins. Let's hope that their editors exercised better judgment on this one. It looks like they have, because this is the final copy of The Vagrant, which comes out in trade paperback from Harper Voyager tomorrow on the 10th. This has already been out for a while in the UK. In fact, I think that the sequel is going to drop any minute now in the UK. But this is described as an astonishing new epic fantasy novel. Mad Max meets the Gunslinger and the Book of Eli. The Vagrant is his name. He has no other. Friendless and alone, he walks across a desolate, war-torn landscape, probably using more than 10% of his brain. As each day passes, the world tumbles further into depravity, bent and twisted by the New Order, corrupted by the usurper, the enemy, and his infernal horde. His purpose is to reach the Shining City, last bastion of the human race, and deliver the only weapon that may make a difference in the ongoing war. What little hope remains is dying. Abandoned by its leader, the Seven, and its heroes, the Seraph Knights, the last defenses of a once great civilization are crumbling into dust. But the Shining City is far away, and the world is a very dangerous place. Riveting, powerful, and gritty, The Vagrant blends epic world-building and addictive adventure into a post-apocalyptic masterpiece. So, all right, The Vagrant is happening tomorrow from Harper Voyager here in the States. Check it out. But what about science fiction novels that have faster-than-light travel? That's not science. I know, I get it. Okay, who do we have here? This is something from the Hachette Group, with a big old packing sheet in it. Okay, interesting. Okay, cool. This is a book called Binary. The author is Stephanie Salter. This is the second novel in a series called Revolution, and there's a little circle around the letter R in that word for whatever reason. The first book is called Gem Science, and I believe the third book is Regeneration. And again, this is one that's already been out in the UK for a bit, and so I think book 3 in the UK is happening or has happened. But Binary, now the second volume, is out in the States in hardback. Lovely edition, and there's no, is there a social, let me just check. No, it doesn't look like one. Okay, I'll read this thing. When confiscated gene stock is stolen out of secure government quarantine, D.I. Sharon Varsi finds herself on the biggest case of her career, chasing down a clever thief, a mysterious hacker, and the threat of new black market gem tech. Zavka Klist, interesting name, ruthless industrial enforcer, has reinvented herself, now the head of Belle Nature. She wants gem celebrity Ariel Morningstar's blessing for the company's revival of infotech, the science that spawned the syndrome, nearly destroyed mankind, and led to the creation of the gems. Okay, I'm probably dropping all kinds of spoilers for gem science here, but whatever. With illness in her own family that only a gem tech can cure, Ariel's in no position to refuse. As the infotech program inches towards a breakthrough, Sharon's investigations lead ever closer to the dark heart of Belle Nature, the secrets of Ariel Morningstar's past, and what Zavka Klist is really after. So as you see, this is a very complex thriller SF series, and I have the book Gem Science. I don't think I got the finished copy of that ever, but I got like 2 copies of the ARC. It's one of those odd things. But they've sent me this one, and so now, yeah, I'm very eager to finally get stuck into this series and check it out. What do you think, folks? Let me know in the comments. Okie dokie, moving on. It looks like we have something from Pyre, the fine folks at Prometheus Books. Let's see. And here we have the finished copy, very attractive, of Nebula Awards Showcase 2016. This is an annual anthology that they put out showcasing both the winners and nominees, finalists, as it were. And there's a difference between nominees and finalists, of course, yes. Finalists, I meant, for the Nebula Awards in a given year. And this one has been edited by Mercedes Lackey, and let's just see what all is in it. Stuff from okay. Stories by Sarah Pinsker, Aliette de Bedard, The Breath of War, The Vaporization Enthalpy of a Peculiar Pakistani Family, Osman T. Malik, okay, and The Meeker and the All-Seeing Eye. So this would have been everything from not this year's ballot, but last year's, finally collected in a single anthology for you to enjoy. Okay, this is interesting. This is a rather densely packed little package from W.W. Norton. And it feels like it's got a couple of things in it, so let's dig in and see, shall we? Holy mackerel, it is not a couple of things, although it might as well be. This is a legitimate surprise. I was told that I would have to wait for BEA to pick up one of these, but the publicist, looks like very nicely, managed to get me one. This is Jerusalem by Alan Moore. It comes out in September. This is a whopping massive, let me look at this thing. It's 1,279 page tome from the author of Watchmen and many other classic graphic novels. It says 10 years in the making comes a literary work like no other from the legendary author of Watchmen, V for Vendetta, and From Hell. Let's see. Doesn't look like there's a sell sheet, but there's a letter here in front. It says, Dear Editor, sometimes size does matter. I write this brief, inconsequential note to spare you valuable time before you should get started on Alan Moore's Jerusalem, to be published in September. I can guarantee you there will be nothing else like it or as ambitious this fall. Simply put, Moore has written a novel as mind-bending as Thomas Pynchon's Gravity's Rainbow, and as imaginative and multi-layered as Neil Stephenson's Baroque Cycle. He's been at work at the novel for 10 years. It says, it is at once a meditation on time and space, a tribute to the dark history and colorful lineage of the English Midlands where Moore has lived all his life, and a wellspring of Blakean prose and visions. That last comparison is essential as the book's title is inspired by William Blake's poem of the same name. Blake's fourfold vision of an eternal city built up from the squalor and deprivation of his contemporary London is now transferred to Moore's own Northampton and the destitute half-a-square-mile neighborhood known as the Boroughs. Working from Blake's hymn, Moore implies that perhaps the only place a sacred and eternal Jerusalem can be built is among those dark satanic mills of segments like the burrows, and in Jerusalem he has constructed a vision of the universe, perhaps darker and more satanic than even William Blake might have imagined. Told with compassion, radical possibility, and transcendence, you will not be able to put this down. And then there is another introduction from the actual publisher. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's a synopsis. In the half a square mile of decay and demolition that was England's Saxon capital, eternity is loitering between the firetrap housing projects. Embedded in the grubby amber of the district's narrative among its saints, kings, prostitutes, and derelicts, a different kind of human time is happening. A soiled simultaneity, that does not differentiate between the petrol-colored puddles and the fractured dreams of those who navigate them. Fiends last mentioned in the 2nd century Book of Tobit wait in urine-scented stairwells. The delinquent specters of unlucky children undermine a century with tunnels, and in upstairs parlors, laborers with golden blood reduce fate to a snooker tournament. So yeah, definitely one for the China Medieval crowd, the penchant fans. Definitely just an exercise in absolute madness that could probably only have come from Alan Moore. Holy mackerel. May well take me till September to read this whole thing, but I am all over it. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Okay, finally, last but not least, we have something from Random Penguin. And it's a huge, huge envelope that appears to have a very small thing in it. So, all right, let's see. What is my life right now? There it is. The Last Days of New Paris, the new book by China Medieval, on sale August 9th. Surprisingly thin. Let's look at this. Okay, I know the general idea of this. There's no real sell sheet for you to read here, but basically this is set in occupied Paris during the Second World War, and you have a group of Parisian artists who are, you know, pretty much already strange people to begin with, and they decide that their way of fighting the occupying Nazis is to build a surrealist bomb. And I guess it goes off and very China Medieval things happen at that point. But The Last Days of New Paris, turning up the same week in the mailbag as this. It's definitely a new weird extravaganza, I must say. So, from Del Rey in August. Okay, everybody, and that is it. That is the mailbag for this week. I must say, wow. Yeah, what a week it is. I guess didn't get off to too auspicious a start there. Sorry, but I guess that one really kind of grinded my gears, that first book there. Yeah, look what it turned into. Holy mackerel. All right, you all know the drill. Light up those comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, which you would like to see me prioritize in the review queue. And otherwise, I will see you Thursday on the live Periscope. For those of you who join me for that, I think it'll be a treat to have like a couple hundred of you, you know, just walking along the exhibit hall with me. But otherwise, thank you so much for supporting the channel. And until I see all of you next time, happy reading! And remember, use all your brain!